Sorry I look like a mess. Because I got home from work a while ago, and I look exhausted, and I don't fucking care. I just stay out because reasons. Uh, so this video is, and I'm probably gonna be all over the fucking place with this video. This video is because Greg is being fucking racist on Twitter again, and this is honestly not really surprising, but it's a cycle he goes through. It's like between the whole circumcision shit, the racism shit, and like other things. Like I'm not a rapist, even though he is. Uh, and there's a few other things he goes through. He's back on his racist kick again, which is hilarious because he's really trying hard to defend this shit. Let me go through and so I'm gonna cover first that he has done blackface. He's mocked Shane Dawson for apologizing initially, this is a while back, for apologizing for doing blackface. Because Shane took down all his videos where he was incredibly racist and he did blackface, which I congratulate Shane on doing so. A while back, a little over a year ago, I think, he did blackface comedy controversy video where he covered his face in, I have no idea what he actually covered his face in, but it was black. He smeared black goo stuff on his face. I don't know if it was like face paint or what. So he smears his like black shit all over his face. And I have this video transcribed. I just don't really feel like I might look it up. Well, I'll look it up actually. He made this video mocking Shane Dawson for apologizing. And it is the most absurd fucking video I have seen. It genuinely pissed me off because he's trying to like play off, oh, I'm not racist because I'm not like it's comedy. I'm not racist, it's just comedy. Because that makes everything so much better. Even though it doesn't fucking make any sense. Just because you're a comedian, just because you think you're a comedian doesn't mean shit, honestly. It means literally nothing. Because you can do comedy, that's not a problem. But you can still be fucking racist as shit. And he's not really that funny, so comedian is a very, very big reach. So he's, shit. Alright, that's gonna take a while to load. So he pretty much sat and mocked, Shane Dawson for apologizing. And he was like, well, it's comedy, and he just, like, smeared shit all over his face. And he is, once again, trying to defend blackface, saying the definition is you have to act like a black person when you're in blackface, and that makes it automatically racist. But I only put black on my face, and black is just a color. I cannot say how racist that comment is. Because let me pull up the exact tweets that he used, because it's fucking absurd. It is wrong to paint your face a color to mock another race, which he's done. He has done. There's no getting around that. There are three or so videos where he has done blackface. The tweet continues, it is not wrong to just paint your face, and moron is all in caps. he's arguing with two different people. No, that's not it. There's another tweet that says people can paint their skin any color so long as they're not acting racist. It's not racist. Okay, so if I paint my skin literally red, certain shades of red could be misconstrued as being racist toward Native Americans. And, okay, that's racist. If you paint your skin yellow and mock Asians, that is very racist. If you paint your skin varying on the shade of brown, you'd probably be mocking some of the Eastern Asians, like India and Pakistan and all those countries. Actually, I don't know if, like, Western Europe, Eastern Asia, that area. I think. I could be completely off with those locations, so, I mean, don't exactly quote me on those. Also, you can be very racist toward black folks. He's just trying to, like, backpedal and say, oh no, I just painted my face black. There's no, like, there's nothing wrong about that. Like, okay. Where is this transcript? Let's see. Nope, that's not it. Nope, that's definitely not it either. Because I want to read part of it, because it's fucking ridiculous. Oh, so we have, mildly racist, why do cops shoot to kill? And let's see. He was incredibly racist in this. Trying to figure out. It's too long, honestly. This one. Yeah, he's definitely very racist in that. Let's see. That's definitely not it. That is not it either. I am so sorry. This is like. Oh. So, these are some racist tweets that he has. Writes jokes, performs jokes, then edits video for hours before uploading the joke. You can't put that much effort into something and not mean it. Any apology would be a result of peer pressure, not comedians who feel feelings. Real talk. Just be honest, people. It'll be okay. In reference to his offensive comedy video, which is the racist video where he blackfaces. 43.7% or 0.07% of people feel Onision looks the most like a, quote, cracker-ass bitch, according to a recent Onision poll. Oh, you guys. A tweet mocking Shane Dawson's apology for being racist. Another one. And another one. Pretty much him calling people puppets and they apologize for being racist for comedy's sake. Which is fucking stupid as shit. He is a fucking moron. Here it is. He has a picture of Dave Chappelle dressed up in whiteface, which is not racist. Like, it's not racist at all. He says, here's Dave Chappelle. As you can see, he's dressed up to look like a white guy. Is there anything offensive about this? Absolutely not. Is there anything offensive about this image? And there's Dave Chappelle dressed up as a white news reporter. No. There's nothing offensive about it, because it's a fucking joke. Dave Chappelle isn't saying that white people are an inferior race and that black people should rise up and hate white people. No. He's just making fun of stereotypes, and that's what comedians do. Which is, like, being racist is not interchangeable with being a comedian. They're not the same thing, like, at all. Racism online seems to be a lot different from racism in the real world. Racism in the real world is a white guy and a black guy walk into a restaurant and apply for the same job. Black guy is more qualified and more educated, yet he still gets rejected because he's not white. That is racism. Racism is not going on up to a guy on stage saying, "White people walk like this, stiff as a board, ha 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 ha." That is stereotypical humor. The guy telling the joke isn't a racist for telling that joke. Now if he puts a KKK mask on and starts chanting, "Kill all black people," then yeah, he's racist. So whatever Shane Dawson did in his video, I don't care. If he walked around going cracker, 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 it was presented in a comedic context. Skipping through. He proceeded to put blackface on. Says, "Oh no, what am I doing? Oh god, this isn't good. Everyone's gonna think I'm racist. Oh no, white man painted his face darker. What's happened to society? Why are we so sensitive?" Because, blackface, clearly he is mocking, the whole thing. But blackface, painting your face as black, he's racist because there is a history behind it. The history is people used to paint their face black to mock black people. Regardless if it was for some sort of comedic act or acting like a black person or whatever, you paint your face up to look like another race. You are being incredibly racist. If it is a fictional race, like, take Homestuck, for example, and I don't read Homestuck anymore, but take Homestuck. You paint your face gray, pretend to be an alien, whatever. That is a fictional race. I know there are other fictional races, I just can't think of any. If you dress up as the monster kid from Undertale, paint your face yellow with the whole striped shirt, and I don't know what kind of pants he has, then you're not being racist because you're cosplaying a little monster kid. If you put black on your face and, like, do this shit, like mock black people or mock someone who is using blackface as a comedic, thing, you are still being racist. And this he's just like, in the video, he's super disappointed at people who apologize for doing blackface because apparently we're too sensitive of people, which is fucking stupid. But then in the video he brings up Family Guy and South Park, which I fucking hate Family Guy, by the way. It is a shitty show. It's going down the toilet, and I hope it gets cancelled. South Park, they've apologized for jokes. Family Guy has not. South Park has. Offhand, I can't remember what, but I recall them apologizing for certain things. And because you can take a joke too far. And Greg does not understand this at all, and it pisses me off. And this carries over into his, "Oh well, I'm not racist. I paint my face black. No, I'm not blackfacing," which is completely fucking stupid. If you have to weekly defend your blackface, you're still fucking blackfacing. As far as his other racist shit, it's a lot of the whole Black Lives Matter issue, which is fine. And if you want to, have an opinion on that, that's cool. But do not invalidate what black people go through. Do not invalidate what any other race goes through. And he has this whole mindset of, I don't see race. I'm not white, I'm a person. Which is some of what he has tweeted out, like literal quotes from his Twitter, which I find hilariously absurd. Hell, even Brianna Wu, who, granted, I don't care for her at all. That's another completely different opinion from this video. He and her had it out, I guess the other day or whatever. And she was like, dude, you're fucking white. Like, okay, I'm white. I'm pasty white. I reflect in the sun. Like, not even exaggerating. I reflect in the sun. Because I don't go out very much during the summer because it's hot and I just don't like the heat. I reflect in the sun. I can't imagine he doesn't reflect. I'm sure he does, honestly. I can't imagine that he wouldn't reflect in the sun. Because he stays inside a lot. He mostly is inside. But he is also pasty ass fucking white. Like, this isn't a knock at anyone else who is also white. Like, he is white. There's no getting around that. He's pale, pasty ass white. Just like I am pale, pasty ass white. I am a white ass motherfucker. And so is he. So this whole, oh well, I'm just a person. No, that's bullshit. Because you have a different skin color of someone who's black. Someone who's black, their melanin, which is, you know, their DNA, makes them darker. So they have a lot more melanin than I or Greg or any other white person, which contributes to why they are black. Same with Native American. They have a certain, in their DNA, their melanin is coded, I don't know if it's DNA or whatever it is. Their melanin is coded where they're slightly darker than white people. Generally. I know there are some lighter skinned natives, I know there are some darker skinned natives. Generally speaking, oftentimes, they're slightly darker than us white folk. Asians are all over the place, honestly. Depending on where you look at in Asia, they could be just as pale as us, or darker. Again, it depends on the melanin. Same with India, or Iraq, Pakistan, all those areas around there, around Eastern Asia. They're darker because they have their melanin is set for them to be darker. That also contributes to their location. And clearly, Mexicans can be darker, depending on where you go. A lot of people in South America are at least slightly darker than white people, if not very dark. Again, depending on where you go. Africa, even though there are actually white people in Africa, and not all of the Africans are fucking starving, because that is also racist, and that is also a thing he brings up every so often. But I digress on that point. Even though there are white people in Africa, there are people of their varying skin pigments there. Clearly, there are a bunch of black people there. But that is also because of their area and because they're melanin. That's why they're darker. And I don't understand why Greg doesn't, actually look at this. Look into this. Look at why we are fundamentally different than black people, or Indians, or Native Americans, or Asians, or anyone else. Like, there are differences. We are not all the same kind of people. And we have to accept that we are all different. Not, oh, well, we're people. We're all equal. We all get treated equally, which is clearly not the case. But his whole thing against Black Lives Matter, which is a very important thing to generally people of color who get treated like shit. Primarily black people, as it started out. Oh, excuse me. It started out because Mike Brown got shot unfairly, pretty much murdered, and then laughed about by the cop who murdered him. Um, and I'll stand out because of that. Because oftentimes, and this is gonna be literally between black and white people. It's say I got pulled over and arrested for whatever it is. Let's say speeding, and I had possession of some sort of drug. I don't know. I got arrested. I would probably get a lesser sentence than someone who is black, who same charges, but just because they're black makes them inferior and whatever. So they must have to, or they're more dangerous because they're black, or whatever the fucking logic, brilliant logic that, the legal system has. More than likely, the black person would get more time than I would, because I am white, and they're black. So, due to the unfairness in the legal system and how the general population of, yes, white people treat black people, that is why Black Lives Matter is a movement. And I don't understand why he's like, oh, well, Black Lives Matter, what about everyone else? That's not the point, fucking you idiot. The point is, Black Lives Matter is not there to demean other races, other problems that other races face. It is to bring attention to how much shit black people go through, but it's not there to say, oh, well, we're better than anyone else. That is why we have this movement. So we're better than white people, we're better than Asians, we're better than natives, we're better than Iraqis, or whatever. No, that has never been the case at all. I think, what is it, the Chinese group Asian Peril? Or Asians in Solidarity. I want to say it's called Asian Peril, but I could be wrong. I know I've referenced both because I wasn't sure in an ask, which I'll link down below somewhere. They were in support of Black Lives Matter because of how the way black people are treated. Generally, black people are treated the worst out of all races. That is pretty much why Black Lives Matter is a thing. Regardless. I fully support the cause. I mean, I'm not gonna talk over someone who is a black person. So, clearly, if anyone has anything to add to this, feel free. Speak up. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, well, I'm an expert on this. No, I am not. I'm clearly not. And I try not to, overstep my boundaries. Because clearly, as a white person, and Greg should fucking know this, he is 5 years older than me. I am 24. He will be 30 sometime this month, in a week or so. He will be 30. And I find that really hilarious, but really sad at the same time. He is pretty much 30 at this point, and he still just is so ignorant and so misinformed, and willfully misinformed at that, because Google is literally right at your fingertips. All you have to do is put a few keywords and find some credible sources that don't end in .com or .net, or occasionally .org. .org's a little tricky. But anything .edu or .gov, especially .gov, are very, 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 credible sources. Anything educational-wise, clearly, and, the government. Very credible sources, and he just doesn't fucking care. But his whole thing against Black Lives Matter is because it apparently puts down other races and shit, and it's like, what the fuck? Cause there's this, there's this tweet he has: the legal system is weighed down by money more than race. Okay, I'm not gonna deny that to a point, but the legal system definitely is racist because there are more black people incarcerated than white people, and I will put that in the description later. Um, it's not about black lives, and black lives is in quotes, I don't know why. It's about how good your lawyer is. Cops, however. Is there a second part to this? No. Apparently, there's not a second part to this. But yeah, he is just a fucking... a genius, honestly. But his other... his other shit is... Let's see. Syrian lives matter too. Iraqi lives matter too. Mexican lives matter too. Native American lives matter too. We all fucking matter too. Saying one race can do something but another race can't, that's racist. I'd rather be, quote, inappropriate than racist like you. I don't know what the initial quote was. Oh, that was about blackface. There's more blackface quotes. Like, he's still really hardcore defending blackface, by the way. It's just so fucking ridiculous. In the last 4 years, 200,000 plus Syrians have been murdered. You probably didn't even know that, did you? Actually, I did. No, you focus on your own little world. Some tweets about weight. We killed over 1 million Iraqi people in the last 20 years, but let's continue to ignore them because their suffering isn't trendy right now. We forcefully took almost everything from natives, but let's continue to ignore them because their suffering isn't trendy right now. Yeah, because this makes a whole lot of fucking sense. Identifying race is the first step to racism, even though literally race is essentially your skin, and there's a clear difference between someone who is Asian, someone who is white, someone who is black, someone who is Indian, someone who is Native American. Like, we all look different because of our race. Not saying that is a bad thing, but we all look different because of our race. Like, to say, oh, I'm not I don't see race, is ignoring the fact that we are all different people, and to accept that we are all different people is fine. To ignore that we are all different races or whatever is really ignorant and somewhat racist, and it's so fucking stupid, and I hate this guy. I hate this guy so much. But the tweet continues, end racial identification equals end racism. I am not, quote, white. I am just a person, accept that. Except that you are just as fucking pale as I am. Like, he might even be paler, honestly, because he stays inside so much more often than I do. I actually go outside every once in a while, when I don't sleep during the day, because I have work at night, because I work graveyard, which is a very valid excuse for me not to be up during the day, as I work at night. But he literally has no excuse not to go outside. At all. Like, even though he works, YouTube really isn't that much of a, like, cool... I mean, I guess it'd be cool, but, like, he literally sits at home all day. Rarely goes outside. Aside from his backyard... And, like, maybe the area around his houses, I don't know how many houses he has now. But literally, aside from his backyard, and the maybe, like, block around his house, he doesn't fucking go outside. He rarely leaves his house to go grocery shopping, let's be honest. Or shopping for stuff in general. And I'm sure he probably orders a shit ton from Amazon. Granted, I do too. But I actually make it down to the fucking... I take half an hour to go to Albertsons, down a ways, but I actually go grocery shopping, and when I need to, I'll go to the mall, or I will go take a walk somewhere if I need something. I don't know. If I need to get some fresh air rather than being in my stuffy studio apartment. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand what his problem is with this whole Black Lives Matter issue. Um, that is something. Oh, multiple groups can be covered in a movement is part of another tweet. Human rights movement includes multiple races / was not racially isolated like Black Lives Matter. Which doesn't fucking make any sense. Which, a human rights movement is for your human rights. Like, things you were born with. Like, what the Constitution gives you. Which some people were denied. Which is why there was a human rights movement. Because the things you were born to have. Like, your right to vote. Your right to freedom of speech and all the all the amendments and shit. Greg's not making any fucking sense. There are many races that are treated unfairly. Women are the only unfairly treated sex. Oh, I guess that's Black Lives Matter stuff. Feminism, because women are the only oppressed sex. Black Lives Matter? ? What about Mexican, Native, and other oppressed people? They matter. Which, of course they fucking matter. Like, this is the thing that gets me. Again, Black Lives Matter was brought up as a movement because of the whole Michael Brown thing, of being unfairly murdered over something incredibly trivial. And, the fucking police officer, whose name I honestly forget, the fucking police officer gloated at essentially getting away with murder, which is another issue for another time. Black Lives Matter was brought up after that, because of that, I should say, because of how unfair black people are treated compared to white people. Greg clearly doesn't understand this, because white people are treated essentially in the judicial system, especially. White people are treated like gods, and everyone else is treated like shit. And I don't say that lightly at all. Like, you can go to the, Department of Justice's, statistics on how many people of each race are incarcerated. And there are far, far more black people than there are white people. And for trivial things, too, like possession of pot. Like, that normally, a small amount probably wouldn't get you that much. Like, maybe a slap on the wrist and a fee for white people. No, if you're black, you have any amount of pot at all, you pretty much automatically go to jail. Or you get the maximum sentence of, whatever it is, because you're in possession, or intent to sell, or whatever it is that, But, he has these other things where it's between him and the actor Matt McGorry, who I think did How to Get Away with Murder and Orange is the New Black, which I have not seen both, so please don't talk to me about those. Matt says, I think it was because you realized that, quote, White Lives Matter is problematic. Do you agree that it is problematic? Greg comes back with 3 tweets in this. Says, I commented that if someone says, quote, White Lives Matter, they would be considered racist. But racism occurs when you treat one race as if they are superior or inferior to other races. Saying White Lives Matter in a big way does that. If we want true equality among races, we have to stop identifying each other by race and instead as individual people. Which, okay, in a perfect world, in a very great utopia, that would be fine. Legit, if everyone was equal, no one got treated any differently than anyone else, that would be a-okay. I would be fine with this opinion, and things would be peachy. But we do not live in a utopia. We do not live in a perfect world. Instead, we live in a world that is incredibly racist. Where, again, we treat black people like shit. We had, like, slightly over 50 years ago, we ended we ended slavery. 50 years. Or, no, not racism. Not racism. Like segregation and all that shit. That is a recent thing. Like, in America, it wasn't that long ago. Like, segregation is still, like, fresh and, like, there are people who lived during the whole segregation thing, and, like, we're just gonna deny them, like, their experience because, oh no, everyone's totally equal. Like, just, he's also fought with his wife about this too, which I find hilarious. But he always fights with her on Twitter, so it's not a surprise. Things like, then why is it called Black Lives Matter? Why not all people matter? Like, that actually includes everyone who suffers. We need to not focus on any one race, rather all races, or all groups that suffer. Natives and Iraqis are not included in Black Lives Matter. Even though, natives and Iraqi, I don't know about Iraqis, natives have actually supported Black Lives Matter. He's a fucking genius, and I just can't. Black Lives Matter is not around to say, oh, well, no one else matters. It's only us. Black lives are the only lives that matter. Even though it literally makes no sense at all. Even though other races have supported this Black Lives Matter because they know how badly blacks are treated in America. Yes, other races are treated like shit. Like Native Americans, since he brought it up. Native Americans are treated like shit. And they're still kind of losing a lot of their land, which is terrible. And there is a movement for them. I just don't know what it's called. Honestly, I should really look that up. Once I do, it'll be in the box. But it's just, he should not talk about racism against black people while he's not black. Like, not even that. He shouldn't be talking at all if he doesn't do any research. And I think that's what bothers me. And I don't know. I'm just, like, frustrated with this. There was another tweet by Matt that said, where'd it go? It's something about trees. No, that's not it. Oh, wait, no, actually, no, this is another one. I've seen hashtag Native Lives Matter signs at Black Lives Matter rallies. Do you think we need to proclaim that white lives matter too? Essentially, is what he said. He says, we need to recognize all people who suffer regardless of race, which is, I agree, but at the same time, he is minimizing the shit that black people have gone through, and it's ridiculous. Now, there's a quote I have somewhere, about the whole Black Lives Matter, and why it's a thing. And it is, held up by an or an older white person. And the sign reads, and I have even quotes on one of my asks, and the sign reads, yes, all lives matter, but we are focused on the black ones right now, okay? It is very apparent that our judicial system does not know that. Plus, if you can't see why we're claiming hashtag Black Lives Matter, you are part of the problem. Which means if you do not understand why, blacks have their own movement, every other race actually probably does have their own movement. It's just black one is more prominent because they get treated more like shit than any other race. It's just so frustrating He doesn't understand this. And I have been going on about this for like over half an hour. Almost 40 minutes. Actually, 40 minutes exactly. Pretty much. And it's just frustrating to see him go back over and try to defend his blackface. And try to defend him being racist about, like, his anti-Black Lives Matter tweets. And there are a shit ton more. I just don't feel like going through the whole Cult of Fuck blog. Because there is a lot. There is... I would like to say 100 tweets. But, yeah. His whole initial, Twitter rant started off with this black girl who had a cup that said, something about white tears are delicious, or something. I can't remember the exact thing that it said on the cup, but it's something like white tears. And she's just drinking out of it, and he was like, oh, well, that's super racist, and it said black tears, they'd be all over me, or whatever. Or that was essentially his attitude, which I find hilarious. Because that is the first thing he jumps to, and it's like, no, dude, no, stop, shut up. But it's just a lot of rehash of this. Oh, I'm not racist, but yeah, that but automatically makes you racist because you're gonna say a racist comment. Like 99% of the time after that, but stuff like I make nothing but anti-racist comments and you react by being racist or quote whites. That's like trying to end violence by starting fights. That literally does not equate to the same thing. He says something about cherry picking, which I find really funny because he cherry picks himself. You cannot cherry pick whether or not someone is racist based on their skin color. That is literally, and for some reason he has colon after the word literally. This is racist. Yeah, mocking white people crying, not racist. Mocking any other race, crying, racist. No question, you are racist. Even though that's not literally, no. Something about Tropic Thunder, which I haven't seen that, so I have no opinion one way or the other. Painting your face white or black does not automatically make you racist. It's just, a lot of this is, like, ridiculous, and I find he's really trying to reach. There was another tweet, someone said just because they didn't own slaves doesn't mean they weren't a part of those lynching parties, and God knows what else. And he replies, or, one of the many white people who freed slaves, 3 question marks. Stop assuming white equals hate, you are racist. I have nothing to say about that one way or the other, honestly, but that is just kind of a stupid thing to say. Imagine being attacked for the actions of your great-great-great-grandpa. That's like this, only, wait, my family never owned slaves. It doesn't matter, like, his family still could have been fucking racist. Like, that's, tweet unavailable, but it says, his response to whatever this tweet happened to be is, race is a sensitive issue. Some people are so sensitive about it, they can't process your words, only their feelings. That doesn't make any sense at all, either. Like, a lot of these are frustrating at best. And he has a lot of, like, miscellaneous stuff tossed in here, too, which doesn't make any sense. Or, like, he's just kind of sitting here belittling people, and it's fucking disgusting. Like, his dismissal, like, ultimately, his dismissal of Black Lives Matter, the Black Lives Matter movement, is essentially racist in and of itself, but neglecting what black people go through. It's pretty much, well, how come you're not involving X, Y, and Z race in your movement? Which doesn't matter because they're focused on themselves because of what they go through. They can't pretend to be another race. Just like I can't pretend to be black. Well, I could pretend to be black, but again, that would be racist. I can't pretend that I am black. Because clearly, I mean, I'm very pale. But I can't pretend to be black and know what they go through. Just like black people can't be Asian and know what they're going through. Or Asian people can't be, well, Asian people technically are Indian, but Western Asians can't be Eastern Asians because they're two totally different like things. And it's just a lot of one race can't be another race because they go through different things. I go through something different than a black person does, or an Asian, like say Japanese or Chinese or Vietnamese or Indian, whatever. Or I go through something different than Mexican or someone from Brazil or any of the South American countries. Or I go through something different than anyone who lives in Africa. Because I am white and they are of a different skin color. And I can't pretend to know what they go through on a daily basis. I can't pretend to know, like, okay, they definitely get picked on. They definitely get harassed by the cops every day. Which may be true for some black people or any other race. But it may also not be true. Because assuming it makes you an ass. And to minimize what other races go through, it's incredibly ignorant at best and racist at worst, because you're equating everyone on the same level, on the same playing field, when that's not the case at all, and it's frustrating. I'm gonna end this because I'm just gonna keep going on because this really pisses me off. But I hope that this kind of, like, I don't know, helps. And I'm just, I'm tired, and I actually need to go do stuff, because, I'm an idiot, and I forgot I brought something home I wasn't supposed to, so I had to return it. Regardless, Greg's an idiot. Greg is incredibly racist. He's also done blackface, and thinks that, equality means that there are no races, even though there are races, and that's what makes us, as people. Sometimes our race defines us. I don't know. I'm gonna go. So, I hope this has been somewhat insightful. I will definitely put links. I will probably put links in later, so that'll be exciting. I'm gonna upload this, and hopefully by the time before I go to work, there will be some sort of links down below about Black Lives Matter, and the various shit that other races go through, like the whole yellow peril thing, and, I know there's movements for Native Americans, and, various immigrants, honestly, and Mexicans and stuff. I'll try to find stuff to put in so I don't look like a complete asshole. But for now, it'll go sourceless for a while, and I apologize, because I am tired, and I need to return the thing that I took home by mistake, and I need to get to sleep. So, this is Chase, signing off, and hopefully, like, this has been at least worth your time, because this is almost an hour. It is 50 minutes, but still. I apologize for the length. I tend to rant a lot. But yeah. Have fun. Chase is gonna go to sleep now.